Welcome to Archive of Us. Today, we examine entry number 01, The Death of Boredom. Part 1, The Threshold. We have become a species that is terrified of a blank space. In the past, boredom was an unavoidable part of the human experience. It was the silence between conversations. It was the long wait at the train station, the empty afternoon with nothing but the sound of a ticking clock. It was a doorway we all had to walk through. But today, we have declared war on these moments. We have filled every microsecond of quiet with a digital noise so loud that we can no longer hear ourselves think. We reach for our phones before we even realize we're bored. It's a reflex, an instinct, a desperate flight from the void of our own minds. What we don't realize is that by killing boredom, we have destroyed the very soil in which creativity grows. We are starving our brains of the only thing they need to thrive: stillness. Part 2, The Evolution of Waiting. Think back to a time before the glowing rectangle in your pocket. Waiting used to be an art form. You waited for the bus while watching the patterns of rain on the pavement. You waited for a friend at a cafe while observing the strangers around you, wondering about their lives, their secrets, their destinations. Your mind was forced to engage with the physical world because there was no elsewhere to escape to. This waiting time served as a cognitive buffer. It allowed our brains to decompress, to file away the day's information, and to breathe. Now, waiting has been deleted from the human vocabulary. There is no more anticipation, only instant gratification. We are physically present in the world, but mentally, we are always somewhere else. We are ghosts in our own lives, haunted by the specter of 1,000 notifications. We have traded the richness of the present moment for the shallow dopamine of a like. Part 3, The Neurology of the Void. To understand why we fear boredom, we must understand what happens when we are bored. When the brain stops receiving external input, it doesn't shut down. Instead, it switches to what neuroscientists call the default mode network. Imagine your brain as a busy office. During the day, it's focused on tasks, emails, and calls. But when the lights go out and the phones stop ringing, the night shift comes in. This is the default mode network. It's where we process memories, imagine the future, and connect seemingly unrelated ideas. It is the birthplace of the eureka moment. But the night shift only starts when the office is quiet. By constantly feeding our brains micro hits of stimulation, we are keeping the lights on 24/7. The night shift never arrives. The connections are never made. We are effectively lobotomizing our own imagination for the sake of a few more seconds of distraction. Part 4, The Science of Epiphany. History is full of geniuses who understood the power of the void. Isaac Newton didn't discover gravity while rushing through a busy schedule. He was sitting in a garden, bored, during a plague quarantine. Charles Darwin developed his most profound theories during long, lonely walks on a thinking path. They didn't have podcasts to fill the silence. They had the silence itself. In our modern world, we are optimizing our time so much that we've eliminated the idle time where breakthroughs happen. We have more information than Newton could ever dream of, but we have less wisdom. Because wisdom requires reflection, and reflection requires space. We are drowning in data, but starving for an epiphany. Part 5, The Architect of Anxiety. We think we are scrolling to relax. but we are actually inducing a state of chronic hyperarousal. Our brains were never designed to process this much information. We are living in a state of continuous partial attention. We are never fully on, but we are never off. This is the hidden cost of the death of boredom: anxiety. When we never allow our minds to reset, the system begins to overheat. We feel a constant underlying sense of dread, a feeling that we are missing out on something, even when we are looking at everything. We have replaced the deep, restorative quiet of boredom with a shallow, exhausting stimulation. We have become a society of reactors, not creators. We react to the news, to the feed, to the ping. We have forgotten how to initiate. Part 6. The industrialization of attention. This isn't an accident. Your attention is the most valuable commodity on Earth. Massive corporations have hired the world's smartest engineers to ensure that you are never bored again. They study your brain's weaknesses to keep you trapped in the infinite scroll. It is a digital cage with no clocks and no windows. The death of boredom is the birth of the most efficient extraction machine in history. Part 7. The resistance: reclaiming the quiet. So, how do we fight back? How do we reopen the archive of us? It starts with the courage to be unproductive. It starts with leaving the phone in another room and sitting with the discomfort of silence. You will feel the itch. Your brain will scream for a hit of dopamine. But stay, wait. On the other side of that discomfort is where your soul lives. It's where your best ideas are waiting. It's where you will find the clarity to see the world not through a lens, but with your own eyes. Boredom isn't the enemy. It is a gift. It is the space where you finally meet yourself. Here we are at the end of this video. If you like this content, please like and subscribe.